All right, hello everybody. Welcome back to the workshop. It's been a bit of a busy time for me last couple of weeks. I've formulated, excuse me, a few of my thoughts and I've got them published. It's up on Amazon and it's called Talk Like an Egyptian. If you'd like to get over there and have a look at it, maybe buy a copy, that would help me out fantastically. And will help everybody out because the sort of information that's in there, I think it's something the whole world needs to know. So, what went on is if you've been watching my last videos, as I was exploring the definition of words and also the original alphabetical matrix of the Latin alphabet, and I did some videos there about some of the common words that we know and use, and the single word definition that hides behind each of the letters in our alphabet. So I'll go into some depth about that later on with the Latin alphabet, and it's published within the book also, within the Talk Like an Egyptian book, and also published there is the Egyptian alphabet, which, funnily enough, I believe, is essentially exactly the same as the current alphabet that we use, and all of these pictorial symbols do relate to at least most of the letters that we use today. And I guess the rider there is that the Latin alphabet is much briefer. It's like a reimagining of the original alphabet, which was in ancient Egypt and likely in other locations around the world as also. I think there was a lot of agreement between ancient people on concepts and the core concepts of life and what powered life in a very scientific way too. Well, let's get straight into it. And obviously, this is a bit of a mismatch of lots of different symbols and pictures, and it's really hard to understand. And all of the information that I've looked at least, lots of images of people's ideas of what the symbols mean, and it just doesn't really make much sense. So what I did was by finding out the original definitions behind each of the Latin letters, I went back to look at the glyphs and see if I could find any of those exact concepts. And I could find lots of them. In fact, I could find all of them and many more. So, and what we find is that while we have an upper and lower case set of letters in the Latin alphabet that we use, well, the Egyptians had up to four cases, and each of these sort of classifications of symbols represents a casing, and they're a little crisscrossed and mismatched. That's because as you read through the glyphs, they refer to things in different contexts. So well, let's go straight across now, and I'll pull up the actual list. Here we go. So if we see here, we'll have a look at this block of here that refer to the letter A, or what we know as the letter A. So there's four casings. The first casing refers to the entire concept of an idea. So for this one, A means unity. And of course, the the highest case for unity can apply to everything, the whole universe and everything within it. But then they break it down quite a little bit more by saying, well, then there's another case below that, and it refers to the unity of things that are life, things that are alive. So this first case mostly is going to refer to those things that are inorganic or not alive, like planets and suns and all of that inorganic aspect of life. And then we have the second casing, which is the organic aspect of life, those things which are alive. And then a third casing, which represents the concept as it applied to humanity. So the unity of humanity. And of course, the final and lowest case is those groups of symbols which relate to the concept applied to an individual. So I have formulated this entire list here, and it is very, very, very similar to our current alphabet, as I was saying before, but it's a little bit more detailed. So you can see, you go through here, we have certain concepts which are available to be applied in all four of those identified contexts. Whereas something like Earth, at this stage, I've identified one principal concept for Earth, which I guess there's only one Earth, so that makes a lot of sense. But I'm still open to the possibility that there is a second uh, concept here which may be applicable for Earth, or that they may have used in that respect. And I think that because at the moment I've got 76 characters, 73 of them I'm fairly certain of, or at least some may be interchangeable. I may have them mixed around to some degree. You know, it needs a little bit of refining for sure. But the whole concepts the concepts that are driving the assignment of the symbols, that's fairly steady and reliable. I think I can prove that. So, a circle above a horizontal line equals unity is in the entire concept and the overarching concept of unity. So if we jump back over here, and we'll just leave this first one here at the start. If you've noticed there's an extra one above, but I'll come back to that. Now let's go back over to our picture here, and we will see straight away, here is our circle with our straight line underneath. And what you're looking at there, as I've mentioned in some of the other videos, is that the circle represents the circle of life. I think there's a lot of idea out there that that represents the sun, and that's not exactly correct, I don't believe. That is the circle of life, and it is sitting atop of this horizontal straight line here, and that is the inorganic matter. That is all of the energy and matter on the path of entropy, heading in a straight line as all of that energy is gradually dispersed and distributed. So the circle here represents the organic life, and the straight line is the inorganic life. And that is what this means. And this is basically universe. This symbol here means universe, or all that is. So we jump across here and we see that circle that is above a horizontal line is the unity, right? Universe. That's our core three-letter concept, is the uni. So the universe, the unity, and obviously many other versions of the word that we know these days. And the original concept was just that unity, and that universe was unity. It's everything. And it is. So, what goes on here is that the entire alphabet is a circular reference. And the alphabet itself and all of its symbols are used to describe a life cycle. So, in a loose sense, but in a fairly accurate sense. So the very first alphabetical character that I've identified as being an alphabetical character, remember there are thousands of these pictures, all by different artists at different times, and no doubt the language evolved. But the important thing is the concepts that are driving behind the pictures. So what we would now these days know as little g, and this font of G is not a good example, but if you just had a basic circle with a downward line into a hook to the left, okay, as we know as a little g, right? So that what that's doing is it's implying the path of the flow of energy. So starting from the hook of the G, it flows up into a circular shape. Okay, so that's representing energy entering into a cycle. Okay, so in the Egyptian language, it was represented as a swept line, okay, an arc-shaped line, and it had a dot on the left-hand side. So if we jump back across here to our picture, we're going to see that symbol right here in the Eye of Horus picture. So you have this little circle on the end of a swept line that leads up to here. Okay, if you're following my cursor, I should get a better one, I know, sorry. Anyway, you make do. So this is the energy entering into a life cycle. And the eye shape itself is representative of the life cycle. This line here it's saying that the energy came along, and then it was created, the energy came into the cycle of this matter here. Sorry, I should say, is a line of matter. The energy entered in with the matter together to create this circle. And it's not a circle, it's an eye shape. I know, I hear you saying, but inside there is a circle shape. And that circle shape inside of an eye shape represents an individual life. So now if we see this eye shape without a circle inside it, it represents just a life. And we can see that possibly down here, these shapes here, down in this section where we have the eye shape, that is referring to an life in general, or human life in general, or humanity's life perhaps, but that when you have a circle inside representing the eye, the pupil or the iris of the eye, that is now representing the life of an individual. So with this Eye of Horus shape, and why we have a mirror image here is, well, that's because it also is saying, well, it is saying that this is energy entering into create a new life. And on the other side, we have the subsequent, ooh, wrong bit. We have the subsequent end of life happening. Right? So this is the beginning stage of life, and this is the end stage of life. And as you see, the mirror image again, this is now the energy leaving. Okay, it goes back out. The stick here at the bottom, this is representative again of this horizontal line here. Now it's shown as a vertical line here because it's implying support. And it's what supports us is the inorganic matter, the energy and the inorganic matter that supports life. And again, with this straight line over the top, but representative of an eyebrow in the same way that an eyebrow shelters and protects your eye, well, the energy and the matter shelter and protect us as well as supporting us underneath. So that is what the Eye of Horus means in my estimation, from my research and through this concept that I've formulated, or rediscovered, I should say. I don't think I formulated this; I rediscovered it. Yeah, so this is what the Eye of Horus means, and depending on which way, I guess the image is facing, it's representative of to a beginning or to an ending of a life. So that's what this heading of this tablet and this inscription means. It's basically implying that below we are going to be describing the process of a life. Okay, so if we go back across here now, we can see that the very first thing that can happen in a life is the energy comes in and it forms into a unity, and that's you, and that's me, and that's any life form. It is a unity. It's of many things joined together, and it's an indivisible. Okay, it's a one, it's a uni. That is the concept that's driving it. So if I flick through, I'll go down quickly now to the end of the alphabet, and we'll see right at the end here we have the swept line with a dot on the right hand side to represent energy leaving the cycle. And that is what we would know today now as the lowercase letter Q. Again, we have the circle and the straight line of the energy in the matter coming down. And again, bad font choice. We would have possibly a little tail out to the right hand side of the script. And again, that's representative of the energy leaving the system, or leaving your system, but joining back into the whole energy system to be reborn again, right back up to the top again. There we go. And start again with a new life. Okay, so it's no wonder those pharaohs were taking their gold and their fancy things in there with them. I don't think it was so much as to take to have it. Maybe it was at some stage to have it or their riches back again. But I think in a lot of ways, we've associated value, monetary value to these, gold and things like that. But I think originally they were just more symbolic than having actual, value. I may be wrong about that. I'm sure there was a tradable assisted tradable. It was a tradable currency even back then. But yeah, these things were, the gold was used was as a symbol. It was very symbolic. So let's talk about the process of the alphabet. So we have the energy enters into the cycle, and then we have the case of letters to represent the unity. And then the next things that happen is we have an encapsulated concept here inside the alphabet where what we know as letter B, letter C, and letter D, well, this is basically representative of the, what would you say, the well, it's an electrical charge. This is B. It's essentially what we'd know as a positive charge. And D is what we would know as a negative charge. And C in the middle is representative of the action that occurs when, well, positive and negative come together and a bond is created. Okay, that's why the poles of the magnets at positive and negative stick together, but they repel each other at positive and positive. And so this mechanism, this runs all of life. Positive and negative together, and they create an action. Okay, so that's what the C represents. It's the action. Right? And we have two cases. We have action of all inorganic things, and we have action regarding organic things. So we see that the C, well, the C is quite easy to work with, in fact, because it's very similar shape, and I'll take you over here and see if we can find one in this script, or I might have to go to another one. This is one of the challenging things about the glyphs, is it's hard to find all of the alphabetical characters in one place. So let me see if I can get across. Where is my... Excuse me, guys. That's how to get back to my other picture. Here we go. There it is. All right. Now I know there's one in here. Sorry for the delay. I'll just zoom this up a little bit, because this has got a lot of them in here. And I'll just take you over to this section here. And if you have a look here, this really flat C shape here with the balls on the end. This is our, what we know as letter C, and this represents organic action. Organic because we have an arc here. You can see the circular representation of organic in the arc of the C there, and also in the circular balls at the end of the C. And what it's saying is that the action occurs. The energy transports from this circle around to this circle. So it's saying it's transporting it. It's basically restoring, moving something, right? It's an action. You move it, or something occurs when an interaction happens. And this is what this one represents. And then there is a directional reference involved here, and whether the C is facing, if the open end of the C is on the left or the right hand side. So it's going to be a representation of whether it's coming and the action is coming, or the action is going. And again, we can look at the inorganic version of C, and that is this little fellow here with the straight line with the angular change of direction and back here, okay, and no circles on the end because we're not representing organic, we're just representing inorganic, right? So this is the symbol to represent inorganic action. Now we go across to the B and the C and the D. I could go well into why the shape we have now, the D with the stick and the semicircle there, and the B with the two semicircles there, and I'll do videos on that at a later time, but it's important to just get the concepts sorted out. So what I believe the overarching concept for beneficial means is the horizontal line with a bloom on the right hand side. And I'll show you quickly what I mean when I say that. Let's see if we can find one quickly in here. No, but I'm pretty sure there's one back in the other I get that to go back before? Oop. And that way. Okay. And here he is there. I'll just zoom in for you on that one. Let's get that sorted out. Okay, there we are. The straight line here with this circular bloom here. It's got some little spikes poking out of it. This is sort of, again, when you see these little wavy lines here, this is organic energy. This is a representation of organic energy. Some may think it's water or waves or something, but it's not. There's other symbols for that. There, right there, that's the symbol for, or the main symbol for water. That's a wave shape there. See, it's the ocean level there on that line, and then there is this wave shape. That is going to be the main symbol for water, but not an alphabetical character. Okay, so there's our beneficial energy. Beneficial, over the overarching concept of benefit or positive charge, positive electrical force. And we can flip back here and we see that we have a hair, so representative of the life level concept, and across all of that level you'll find that they're represented as animals. Okay, so it's because it's representative of all life, right? So the animals are representative of all life, and then we have the other human and individual person concepts. So we go jump back across here. Let's have a quick look. Where's our hair? There he is there, and right there's our hair, and he means beneficial or positive energy. Now we'll jump down to the counterpart for that, which is the cow. It's the deprived energy of life, and deprived doesn't mean to take away. Well, it does, but we in our modern times we use deprived to mean that we're stopping somebody from getting something. Say, I'm depriving you. Okay, I've mentioned it in the previous videos, but deprived, it does mean separated from all the negative energy aspect, right? And it's representative as a cow. So we'll see this is the cow here. Yes, there he goes. Okay, and the hair. So the deprived and the benefit, or the negative and the positive. And this is what this little encapsulation here says. This is an encapsulated statement here from the cow to the hair with the organic energy lines underneath. Okay, and this is, I think I'll have to go back in there. It is, it's represented there as well, but this is again representative of, I do believe it's the infinite individual for this one. So we have the circle here at the bottom, again representing organic energy, and then up through a straight line to a cross, or an interception point. And that is related to the letter T. You'll see it over here again. This is a slightly different usage. This is, it means beginning. Basically, this symbol of a T, a small lowercase t, with again a circular shape in the middle. So it's saying that this intersection point of the energies, a life is created, right? So, and that this process continues infinitely. You know, new lives are created. Okay, so this is, I believe, is the infinite individual symbol. We'll get to that. That's later in the alphabet. Okay, so we have the cow, which makes sense. You know, if you're representing aspects of life or concepts, we look at the cow and we say, well, it's quite slow and it's deprived of energy. It's lacking of energy. Whereas the hare, the rabbit, you know, he's super fast. He's got plenty of get up and go. He's got a lot of energy going on there, and so that was the representation of the positive electrical charge that runs life. So very quickly, two northern hemisphere shapes. So an upside down, or the top ways, who would know? Here it is there. There's one of them there filled in. There's another one there not filled in. And there's a difference, obviously. One is sun and one is moon, basically. But we have a not filled, two not filleds in a row is the beneficial for humanity, and just a single northern hemisphere, which is not filled, is beneficial for an individual. And then down here with the deprived energy, it's representative, the whole concept of deprived energy, um, separated from energy, so lacking energy. There's a horizontal rectangular line with a thin branch line above it. And this is what I believe in this artist representation. It is just here. We have this line, and up here this branch line separating away from it. Right? It's separating from, it's depriving from the main line of energy. So it's depriving from. So your life is deprived from the energy. It is separated from, it's of the energy, but it is separated from the energy. It creates a divergence, Um, So to finish off this video, because it's quite long, there's a lot of explanation, and I know I'm not good at it, but hey, go and buy the book. I'm a good writer, I'm not such a good speaker. But anyway, so the next concept in line of this life cycle process, we have the E and the F that we know today, and the E represents balance, and the F imbalance, and very quickly you'll see it in our modern symbol, whereas the E has a line at the top and a line at the bottom, and a little line in the middle. So the negative at the bottom, the positive at the top, and the balanced state in the middle. So when you see 3 like this, it represents balance. And the imbalance, the F, yeah, it's lacking the negative line representation at the bottom. We have the small one in the middle and the large line at the top of the F, and that is representing imbalance, right? So it's the positive is there, and there is the potential for an action to occur, an interaction, but there's not, there's an imbalance. So an imbalance is a potential for an action to occur. It's a potential for balance. Whereas a balanced state itself, well, that is quite strong and bonded and hard to break, as we see with trying to break chemical bonds, an atomic bomb. Now, we've figured out how to do it, but it's not an easy thing to do, to split an atom, right? These things, once two um, two particles have joined together and bonded electrically, they've shared electrons. Now, it's very hard to separate them out from that. You need to put a fair bit of energy in there into that process. So like boiling water, you raise that up to 100 degrees to get those particles to the hydrogen and the oxygen to separate. Okay, and to their constituent parts of the oxygen gas and the hydrogen gas. That takes a lot of energy. If you don't do that, or if you don't add the warmth to it, like the sun can do to evaporate water, well, the water will just sit there bonded and stable. Okay, so we have these concepts involved, and let's just have a quick look. And G, right, is our Earth. Right? So this is what we know now as geology, geography, God. Right? That's G, that's Earth. Right? I know maybe you have religious thoughts and you're welcome to them, but the reality is, in practical terms, the Earth is our God. Um, it's a benevolent God. It supports us and protects us, but it's also a vengeful God for no apparent reason. It just seems to throw a flood or a volcano or an earthquake just to keep us on our toes. Okay, so that's life. It giveth and it taketh away. That's our God. It's Earth. So we still know Earth related things referred to with words starting with G. This hasn't changed. Um, in the Egyptian, the symbol for Earth was terribly hard for me to find for you in this one, but you can see it here at the start. This square. It's represented as a square, and that is because it provides us shelter and it provides us support. So if we rotate the letter G and we take out the arc shape that we have now and just make it a square G with that little return line, if you flipped it on its side 90 degrees to the right, you'll see that it would have a little opening in it for us to enter into. It would very much look like the opening to a house if you looked at it in a plan view from above. without the roof on. You'd see the walls with a doorway into it. But that straight line that's representative of the support that it gives us, like in the Eye of Horus picture with the vertically positioned straight line. It's representative of the support of the earth. All right, let's keep these short. I'll break them up into sections so we don't have to sit here too long going over it. I will come back very soon with a few more parts to this, and we'll go through the whole Egyptian hieroglyphic alphabet and hopefully have a bit of fun, discover something new. I had heaps of fun doing it, and I'm pretty sure even if you've had no previous interest in this sort of topic, it's a pretty amazing thing to think that all of the concepts that drive our Latin alphabet are also present and indeed originated from a much, much more ancient our alphabet of conceptual meanings, and that was lost for a period of time and was reformed, but in a very brief fashion. All right, guys, I'll stop rambling on. I'll get my thoughts together again, and we'll come back and have a look at some more of these pictures and symbols and meanings. And yeah, hope you had a little bit of fun. And please join back in, share it with your friends. Interesting stuff. Terrible presenter. Sorry about that. But hey, that's what you've got for now. All right, guys. Catch you soon. See ya.